Welcome students. Welcome for another session for power system stability. Today we are going to start next unit, that is unit number 5, related with the transient stability studies part 2. Right? Main objectives for today's session are again to recall whatever we learned up till now related with rotor angle stability, improvement of transient stability, that is what are different methods for improving transient stability, one machine infinite bus system under classical model, and transient state stability analysis. Right? So let us recall again rotor angle stability. Most of the electrical energy is generated by synchronous machines. In normal state operation, all synchronous machines rotate at the same electrical speed, that is omega 2 pi f. The mechanical and electromagnetic torques acting on the rotating masses of each generator balance each other. The phase angle differences between the internal EMFs of the various machines are constant. Following a disturbance, there is an imbalance between the two torques and the rotor speed varies. So, one can say rotor angle stability deals with the ability to keep or regain synchronism after being subjected to a disturbance. Right? So as we have stated that power system stability, it is having three main classification, that is rotor angle stability, then frequency stability and voltage stability. So what is power system stability? We know that it is related with the power system network, interconnected power system network, where the system should be able to maintain as well as regain the steady state condition when it is going to be subjected to any kind of disturbance. Okay, so it should not fall out of the system, or it should not lose its stable equilibrium point of operation. That we define as what? Power system stability. Right? And accordingly, the type of disturbance we also have defined when it is related with the, especially for rotor angle stability, we discussed depending upon the type of the fault or the disturbance, we classified further as what? Steady state stability system, transient state stability system, and also the dynamic stability system. Okay, so in short, rotor angle stability, it deals with the ability to keep or regain synchronism after being subjected to disturbance. Right? Then small disturbance angle stability, that is related with steady state stability. Right? Small signal or small disturbance angle stability deals with the ability of the system to keep synchronism after being subjected to a small disturbance. Whenever we are dealing with the rotor angle stability, so obviously it is related with the synchronous machines. Whether these machines which are interconnected in a power system, these are maintaining their synchronism or not, whether they are falling out of the step, that becomes, the system becomes unstable, that we have to study. And this study is nothing but what? Rotor angle stability study. Right? So small disturbances are those for which the system equations can be linearized, that is around equilibrium point. And we know that these small disturbances are oftenly occur on the system. Then tools for linear system theory can be used, in particular eigenvalue and eigenvector analysis. Transient stability. Transient stability deals with the ability of the system to keep synchronism after being subjected to a large disturbance. Right? Now what are these large disturbances? Typical large disturbances are mentioned here as what? Short circuit cleared by opening of circuit breakers, more complex sequences, backup protections, line auto reclosing. These may, one can say, large disturbance, even a tripping of a complete one transmission line, right? Then the nonlinear variation of the electromagnetic torque with the phase angle of the machine's internal EMF must be taken into account while dealing with the transient stability. Numerical integration of the differential algebraic equations is used to assess the system response that we are going to see later on, that is related with the step-by-step method. Unacceptable consequences of transient instability. What will happen in the system if it becomes transiently unstable? What is that? Generators losing synchronism are tripped by protections to avoid equipment damages. Large angle swing create long lasting voltage dips that disturb customers. Even also, if the transient instability it continues for a long duration, there may be complete failure of the grid, right? The next that we discussed in previous session, that improvement methods for transient stability, okay, that we have seen in previous session. The main factors and controls which enhance transient stability are proper excitation system, turbine valve control, faster fault clearing times. Yes, this is true. Clearing time, fault clearing time must be faster so that we can prevent system from going to the region of unstable region. Okay, so faster fault clearing time, it is really important. Single pole operation of circuit breakers, minimize transformer reactance, series capacitor compensation of lines, additional transmission lines. Yes, additional transmission lines, that we can increase the transmission lines if the parallel circuit it is there. What happen? We know that the reactance is going to be affected if we increase the parallel circuits of the transmission lines in the system, because I know the power transfer capability, it is dependent upon EV by X. Okay, so X is the transmission line. So the same meaning is here, that is additional transmission lines. Then load shedding, it is one of the technique. It is a traditional technique for improving or for enhancing transient stability and the braking resistors. These all points we discussed in previous session. Then also let us recall that what standard models that we have to consider while analyzing transient stability. The standard model that we usually used to say, it is what excuse me, it is single machine connected to infinite bus, that is what SMIB system, right? So what does this system? The system with one synchronous machine represented by classical model with constant mechanical power, that is PM. Another system, that is one infinite bus with constant voltage and some loads represented as constant impedances. This is overall one machine infinite bus system under classical model, right? Then come for transient stability analysis. Transient stability limit, as we defined earlier, is the maximum power that can be transferred without the system becoming unstable when a sudden or large disturbance occurs. Okay, and so also we mentioned that TSSL, that is transient stability state limit, it is always less than steady state stability limit, and this we are going to understand more when we understand equal area criteria and its application. Okay, there we can see that how this statement is true, that is transient state stability limit is always less than steady state stability limit, right? Also recall assumptions that we made while studying the transient stability. The first assumption it was in transmission lines and synchronous machine, resistance is neglected. So lossless system we can consider the damping term contributed by synchronous machine damper winding is neglected because we know that for transient stability analysis we need first swing of the system. Okay, so one can say the damping or damper winding it is neglected. Then rotor speed is assumed to be synchronous. Next it is mechanical power input to machine, it remains constant. And as usual, voltage behind transient reactance is assumed remains constant. We are familiar with all these sentences. And the last one it is loads are modeled as constant admittances. Okay, so bottom line of this assumption mainly it is that whatever may be the system stability studies, we have to represent synchronous machine by its voltage behind, constant voltage behind reactance. Then that reactance may be steady state, may be transient state, may be subtransient state, right? Then let us see what are the different methods for analyzing transient stability. These methods are equal area criteria, point by point method or step by step method and Runge-Kutta method. These are certain methods for analyzing the transient stability. Out of these three methods, from our syllabus point of view, we are going to learn two methods. Which are those? Equal area criteria and point by point method, right? Now for that purpose, we are again going to take help of power angle curves. See, power angle curves, one can say it is the heart of the power system stability studies. Once we understand power angle curve, we can understand different types of system stabilities. Maybe steady state, maybe transient, even also dynamic, right? So for transient stability analysis, we need to consider three systems because we know that transient stability it is related with the large disturbances. So whenever the system it is facing large disturbances, that means obviously there will be the changes in respective power angle curves. We have to consider there three conditions. Which are those? Pre-fault means what? Before the fault occurs, the system is assumed to be at an equilibrium point. Now, dear student, you are understanding the word equilibrium point. If you remember that ball and bowl analogy. Okay? So, the first system that we have to consider while analyzing the system from transient stability point of view, it is you have to consider pre-fault system. What is it? That is the before the fault occurs, the system is assumed to be at an equilibrium point, right? That means everything is okay, everything is well. At steady state condition, that is input power balances with the output power. There is a balanced system. One can say balanced condition it is there. PM is equal to P. Mechanical input power is equal to, one can say that is electrical output power. Okay. Then faulted condition. The fault changes the system equations, moving the system away from its equilibrium point. Yes, we know this. Because of the fault, the system it is moving away from its stable equilibrium point. Again recall that ball and bowl analogy. If the jerk it is given to the large extent, then we know that the ball may cross the boundary of that or the rim of that ball and the system becomes unstable. Okay, so from transient stability analysis point of view, we have to study this condition also, that is what is happening on the system during fault, right? Then what? That is the post fault condition. Post fault condition it is, that is after fault is cleared, the system hopefully returns to a new operating point. What is happening on the system when fault is cleared? Okay, so these three systems we need for analyzing transient stability, right? Again, as we discussed just now, there are different methods for transient stability analysis. These two methods, that is numerical integration. First one, it is numerical integration. This is by far the most common technique, particularly for large systems. During the fault and after the fault, the power system differential equations are solved using numerical methods. Okay, numerical integration most probably related with a point by point method or step by step method. And second one, it is what direct or energy methods. For a two bus system, this method is known as the equal area criteria. Okay, and this equal area criteria, it is mostly used. Why? Because it is used to provide an intuitive insight into the transient stability problem. It provides insight of that transient stability problem. You will understand the practical application of equal area criteria for transient stability study. Okay, so that's why we have first started for after completion of unit 1, rather than taking for unit 2 and 3, we have started for unit number 4 and 5, because these are really interested when we learn about the equal area criteria and its application. Okay, it visualizes about what exactly happening on the system when the faults are occur. Okay, so that is really interesting, right? Then again, to understand transient stability problem, we have to consider classical model. You may consider either a SMIB system or two machine system for transient stability analysis. So as it is said here, to understand the transient stability problem, we will first consider the case of a single machine connected to a power system bus with a fixed voltage magnitude and angle. We know that. What is infinite bus? Through a transmission line with impedance as shown XL. It is a transmission line reactance. You can see this diagram carefully. Single machine connected to infinite bus with V is equal to 1 at an angle of 0, and a single machine you can represent by EG at an angle delta, and XL it is transmission line reactance, right? This you observe while studying transient stability many times, SMIB system, right? So consider that example again. Assume a generator is supplying power to an infinite bus through two parallel transmission lines. You can observe this diagram carefully. Then a balanced three-phase fault occurs at the terminal of one of the lines. You can see fault location here. The fault is cleared by the opening of the line circuit breakers. Now let us see what happens in the system for such condition. So what will be the simplified pre-fault system as shown here? And it can be also understood from power angle curve. Pre-fault system, one can say that is good system. Everything is okay. Healthy system. The pre-fault system has two equilibrium points. The left one is stable and the right one is unstable. You can see here. And you can also calculate it. That is sine inverse PM XTH upon EG here. XTH, that is the total equivalent reactance of the system. Because we consider here parallel transmission line. So you have to find out XTH means X equivalent. Parallel combination of two reactances. Right? So that was the condition for before fault occurring on the system. Then next condition, next type of system that we have to consider, that is the during the fault the system changes. Okay, during fault what we observe, the equivalent system you can observe here to the leftmost corner of this slide. So during this fault no power can be transferred from the generator to the system, right? After the fault, the system again changes. So what happened? Again, we can say after fault, that means power flow, it has been maintained via healthy transmission line. So the equivalent system after the fault can be shown as you can observe for this diagram. Okay, right? So for such three types of system, what will be the changes for the power angle curve, right? So what are these? We know that we have to consider three systems, that is pre-fault, during fault and post-fault. So pre-fault, that means everything is good, everything is well in condition, healthy condition. So you can observe these power angle curves, three power angle curves. Right? Then what happened during fault? We know that electrical output, it is 0. So you can observe during fault here. But if the fault, see these power angle curves, these are dependent upon the location of fault also. Okay, so the left hand power angle curves, this is mainly when the power, that is the fault, it is occurring on the middle of the transmission line. Then obviously if the fault it is occurring on the middle of the transmission line, then during fault the power output, electrical power output will be 0. But what happens if the fault is located near to the generator side, not the middle of the transmission line? Then still it may be having power, but its magnitude will be less than the power which can be found or which is present before the fault occur on the system. So this you can observe from the power angle diagrams to the right hand side as shown here. Okay, so during fault you can observe by the red curve. Okay, these power angle curves for when the fault it is at the generator end side, and left hand side power angle curves for when the fault it is occurring on the middle of the transmission line. That means what these two diagrams indicates you, that the power transfer capability for understanding transient stability analysis, it is not only important to consider the severity of the fault, but also its location is really matters a lot. Okay, then were few points that I would like to discuss with you before starting for the derivation, and for also before understanding that what exactly equal area criteria, okay, for analyzing transient stability. These were certain points which are important to understand, very interesting, because it is having certain kind of practical application for equal area criteria. So that's why for today's session we recall all the points related with the transient stability analysis. Okay, and we introduced here that for transient stability analysis we have to consider three power systems, that is pre-fault, during fault and post-fault. Accordingly we have to draw three power angle curves. But while drawing this power angle curve, one has to take care of the location of fault occurring on the system. Because as we just discussed now, that if the fault it is occurring on the middle of the transmission line, the second curve, that is power angle curve during fault, it is having a straight line. It is along the x-axis, because for that type of location, PE2, that is power output, electrical power output during fault, is 0. But if that fault it is located near to the generator terminal, then we have seen that there are actually three power angle curves: pre-fault, during fault and post-fault. Right? It will be more clear in upcoming sessions where we are going to learn about equal area criteria and its interesting applications. Okay, so let us summarize key points for today's session. Today we recall rotor angle stability definition. Then also we recall about what are the different methods for improving transient stability. We have seen what is one machine infinite bus system under classical model, and then what are the different methods for analyzing transient stability, such as equal area criteria method and point by point method. Runga-Kutta method is the third one, which is not in our syllabus. So mainly for upcoming sessions we will be having main focus on two methods, that is equal area criteria and point by point method or step by step method. Right? So that's all for today's session. Thank you to all.